All right, let's talk about something that's literally all around us, shaping pretty much everything we see, touch, and do. We're talking about capitalism.
No, really, just stop and think for a second. That phone in your hand, the coffee you might be drinking, even the shoes on your feet, they almost certainly exist because of one single powerful economic system. And yeah, you guessed it, that system is capitalism. Okay, so what is this thing really? You hear the word thrown around all the time, right? Is it this amazing engine for freedom and innovation? Or is it just a driver of greed and inequality? Well, to figure that out, let's just start with a super simple definition. Okay, so at its absolute core, capitalism boils down to three big ideas. First, private individuals, people like you and me, can actually own businesses. Second, we're all free to try and make a profit. And third, and this is a big one, prices aren't set by some government committee. Nope, they're decided by the natural back and forth of supply and demand. And, the whole process is actually pretty straightforward when you think about it. It goes something like this. You get an idea, a great one. You're totally free to start a business based on that idea. Then, you sell your product or your service to people who want it, and if you've made something people actually value, you make a profit. That's it. That's the basic loop that makes the whole system go round. And this right here, this gets to a really crucial difference. Who's in charge? In a capitalist system, the means of production, the factories, the stores, even the software code, it's all owned by private people and companies. That's a huge contrast to other systems where a central authority, like the government or a king, owns and controls basically everything. All right, to really see how this works in the real world, let's strip it all down to the basics with a classic example. We're going to call it the lemonade stand test. Okay, so picture this. You decide to open a lemonade stand. You're the boss, you own it. You go out, you buy the lemons, the sugar, and you set your own price. Let's say $1 a cup. Now, if people love your lemonade and they think it's worth that dollar, boom, you succeed. But if they don't, well, your business fails. It's really that simple. But here's where things get really interesting. What if your lemonade is, well, what if it's just not that good? Maybe it's way too sour, and you're trying to charge $2 for it. Now, in a system where you're the only game in town, your customers are just stuck. But not in capitalism. No way. Because see, you're not the only person out there with an idea. Someone else sees you, sees an opportunity, and bam, they open up a new stand right next to yours. And guess what? They're selling better lemonade for less money. This, my friends, is competition, and it is the absolute heart of capitalism. And this little lemonade war shows you the power of competition perfectly. To stay in business, you have to respond. It forces you, and every other business out there, to step up your game. You've got to improve your quality, lower your prices, and innovate. Maybe you add a cool strawberry flavor, who knows? And who's the real winner in all this? The customer. Every single time. So that lemonade stand, it's like the whole system in miniature, right? Now let's zoom out and look at the core principles, the actual engine that drives the entire capitalist economy. It all rests on what you could call 4 fundamental pillars. First up, private property. The idea that you own your business and the stuff you create. Simple enough. Second, free markets. Prices get set by buyers and sellers talking to each other, not by some central planner. Third, you've got the profit motive. Look, the desire to make money is what gets people to take big risks and start businesses in the first place. And finally, competition. That constant battle between businesses for your money. There's a really great way to think about this. Profit is the fuel that makes the engine go. It's the whole incentive. But competition, that's the pressure that forces that engine to get better, stronger, and more efficient all the time. So yeah, businesses are all out there competing, but we can't forget the most important part of this whole equation. At the end of the day, it's the consumers, it's us, who decide who wins and who loses. We vote with our wallets every single day. But, of course, no system is perfect. Not by a long shot. And it's super important to look at the good and the bad of capitalism with a clear head. So let's take a look at the 2 sides of the coin. And the impact is, well, it's complicated. On the one hand, you've got this incredible track record of innovation and economic growth. But on the other hand, it's also tied to some pretty serious issues, like inequality and, economic instability. Let's start with the good stuff, the upside. I mean, that constant drive for profit and the need to compete has fueled just massive innovation. Think about everything from your smartphone to life-saving medicines. It's helped raise living standards for so many people, created millions of jobs through global trade, and it naturally rewards people who take risks, get creative, and find more efficient ways to do things.
But then there's the flip side, the downside. The system can definitely lead to huge gaps in wealth. And if you don't have some rules in place, successful companies can grow into monopolies and just crush all the competition that's supposed to make the system work. In the economy itself, it can swing wildly through these boom and bust cycles, which sometimes lead to major financial crashes.
Okay, so given all those pros and cons, how does the system actually work out in the real world? Let's take a look at how countries are actually using it today.
So for a super quick comparison, let's put capitalism next to socialism. In its purest form, capitalism means individuals own the businesses. In many socialist models, the government owns and runs the major industries, things like energy or healthcare.
But, and this is probably the most important thing to know about the modern world, almost no country is 100% one or the other. The vast majority of nations on Earth are actually a mix, blending parts of different systems together.
And this is what economists call a mixed economy. So you have that powerful engine of capitalism driving everything forward, but it's also guided and, frankly, reined in by government regulation. Rules that are designed to stop monopolies, protect consumers, and try to smooth out those crazy boom and bust cycles we were just talking about. All right, so let's wrap this all up. What is capitalism? Well, it's a system that's all about freeing people up to create and to build. It's a system where the market, not some ruler, decides what things are worth. It uses the drive for profit to fuel incredible innovation, and it uses the constant pressure of competition to decide who gets to stick around.
It's powerful, it's definitely imperfect, and it has absolutely shaped the world we live in today. Which really just leaves us with one final big question. Is capitalism a system that, at the end of the day, works? Or is it one that's fundamentally broken and needs to be fixed? You know what? That's a debate that is very much still going on.